This is Klay Thompson here. I can show you hours and hours of his highlights to show you all what kind of player he is. But I think this short story by Sean Livingston sums up the type of player that Klay is, better than any highlights could ever hope to. We were toward the end of that first title season. We've already made the playoffs. We may have already clinched the seeding. There is nothing really on the line. I think we were out in Phoenix or somewhere. We ended up winning, but Klay missed the game. It might have been the first game all season he missed. He was out due to an injury. So we're all huddled up post-game in the locker room, and he stops us and says, "Guys, I just want to apologize for not suiting up tonight. My bad. I take great pride in not missing any games." I remember looking at Steph. I remember looking at Andre. Those were our captains. I'm like, is this dude serious? Then Festus Ezeli capped it off by saying, he held himself accountable so much, nobody ever needed to tell Klay what he needed to do. Klay Thompson is about to finally rejoin the Warriors lineup, and just like that, the Golden State Warriors are about to become practically unbeatable. Did y'all see the clip of him hitting 24 three-pointers in a row recently? Sheesh, guys. The Warriors, who currently have the best record in the NBA, are about to add in another shooting superstar. I mean, this is the guy who scored 37 points in a single quarter. This is the guy who scored 60 points on 11 dribbles. This is the guy who scored 14 trays in a single game. We've all been enamored by Steph's shooting ability the last 2 seasons, but the truth is, Klay Thompson is the other half of the Splash Brothers equation.
And Klay, catch and shoot 3 for NBA history.
And it's not just his shooting either. Klay is an excellent defender who loves taking on the toughest defensive challenges. He's another competitor with championship pedigree who loves the big moments. And speaking of big moments, Klay is the dude who saved the Warriors before in crucial playoff situations.
And knock it down. A long 3 for that, and it's Iguodala. Thompson fires for 3. There's a team coming in your building. A lot of quick that. Now 10 for 31. Klay Thompson.
Thompson finds an opening. 3-pointers up. Out to Green. Thompson. One fake, one dribble, one shot.
Man, if this dude didn't get injured in that Game 6 dunk attempt, the Warriors probably would have three-peated. Anyway, let's get back to the present day. Some people might be saying that Klay won't be Klay when he returns. I mean, an ACL injury on one leg and an Achilles injury on the other? Well, the truth is, if Klay's game was built on athletics, like how D. Rose's game was, then I'd be really worried. But in actuality, his game is more like Durant's. They're both shooters who don't rely on athleticism as much, but more on finesse and marksmanship. I mean, look at Durant's history. A foot injury that ended his season in 2015, then an Achilles injury that cost him his entire 2020 season. And look where he is now. He's going back and forth with Steph Curry in the MVP race this year. To compound this point, sports medicine has really improved. I mean, look at LeBron James. He's 37 years old now, but just went off for 43 points the other day. Chris Paul is 36 and is leading the Phoenix Suns to the second best record in the league. Of course, I could be completely wrong about Klay's post-injury capabilities, but from what I've heard, Klay's looking like he hasn't lost a step. Here's what Andre Iguodala said about Klay recently after one of the Warriors' scrimmages. "In the scrimmage, I kept passing it to Klay, but it wasn't on purpose. And by the 5th, 6th time, I'm like, I'm not trying to pass to him, but I just keep finding him and he just keeps scoring. And Wiggs and I were talking about it after the game, and I'm like, I kept getting assists from him, but I wasn't looking for him. He's like, bro, he doesn't dribble. And I'm like, you know what it's going to open up for other guys? And he was like, it's crazy." Then after that, Andrew Wiggins, who's probably going to make the All-Star team this year, had this to say of Klay's scrimmage performance. "It's impressive, man, to see what he does, what he can do. The impact he has defensively, offensively, it's crazy. I'm excited to play with him, excited for him to get back. The league's going to be in trouble once he gets back." And my gosh, guys, from what I've heard, Klay should be back within a week, most likely the Cavaliers game on Sunday, January 9th. Anyway, Steph Curry has got to be really excited. He's been carrying the offensive load of Dub Nation for about a season and a half. So, for the first time in a long time, he's going to have another Warrior in the lineup who's more than capable of dropping 50 on any given night. I mean, check out these plays. Here's Draymond bringing the ball up the floor. Steph here is about to set a screen for Klay's defender, but because Steph's defender has to stick on him like glue, Klay is going to get a wide open shot.
I don't think Klay will come out until he gets 40, and I think he has. Yes.
On to the next play. Here's Klay with the ball. Curry's about to shake off his defender by using the screen. With any other player, the ball is going to swing to Curry, but Klay knows that he's just as deadly, so he calls his own number.
Thompson pulls back, three-pointer, puts it in.
Sheesh, guys. Teams won't be able to focus all of their attention on Steph anymore because there will be another splash brother on the court. And with that, they won't be able to load up on him like they've been doing for the past 2 years. Otherwise, the ball will find its way into Klay's hands, just like in these plays here. Here's Curry with the ball.
Curry with a little finger roll at the rim.
Once Curry gets the double team, he knows that he can either hit Draymond for the roll to the basket, but because there's a center waiting by the rim, he finds an open Klay instead.
And here's Thompson.
Nothing but splash here, guys. Recently, Klay and Steph have been seen practicing with each other after what feels like an eternity. They also scrimmaged together, and this is what Steph had to say about Klay after sharing the court again with him. He shot over 50%. It's exciting. He's worked so hard and been through so much in 2.5 years. So for him to have an opportunity to play basketball again and not be rehabbing and just enjoy himself and enjoy basketball, you can see it in his face. He knows he's close, and that's cool to watch. The truth is, the Warriors are already practically unbeatable. I mean, without their second best player and their 7-foot athletic center, they took out LeBron, AD, and Westbrook on opening night. Next, they took out the Chicago Bulls and all the hype surrounding them. Then they took out the Brooklyn Nets. Then, while being severely short-handed, they took out the Phoenix Suns on Christmas Day, followed by the Utah Jazz just a few days later. The Warriors already crushed most of the top teams in the NBA. Now, just think of what they'll be when they get one of the most competitive dudes back in their lineup. You know, Kobe Bryant once said of NBA players, "The NBA, it was actually easier than high school, because what I found in the NBA is a lot of guys playing for financial stability. When they came to the NBA, they got financial stability, so therefore, the passion and the work ethic and the obsession, the obsessiveness was gone. It's like taking candy from a baby. No wonder Mike wins all these championships." Well, Draymond Green, who we all know to be one of the most competitive dudes in the modern NBA, had this to say. "I have this reputation for being crazy, extreme, competitive, but I think Klay is more competitive than me. If there's one thing I have to point out about him, it's just his competitiveness. If you go down there in the locker room on any given day when he's rehabbing, he's out there talking crazy, and it's all just fueling from the game of basketball, from getting out there and competing. I think that is one of the most important things to Klay, and I also think it's one of the most undervalued and misunderstood things about Klay. Anyway, on a slightly different topic here, who do you think is the greatest offensive weapon in the history of the NBA? Well, I got my pick in this video right here, where I go over exactly why I picked Steph Curry. And let me tell you guys, it goes way beyond the traditional box score. It's a huge video, guys. I'm sure you'll love it. So go ahead, click it, enjoy it, and like always, I'll be on the other side.